Hi guys, so this is the cup. It's been about 20 to 30 minutes and my cup is ready to go onto the spinner. So again, you want to make sure that the insert is pushed down because if any epoxy gets in here, we don't want it to fuse to the foam insert. Okay, so we're just going to place this on our spinner and now we're going to take our mixing cup, our popsicle stick, and let's pour some epoxy in here. And again, we are using Tumbler's Lightning Cure. So let's go ahead and pour it into our cups. We're going to pour about, let's do 15 milliliters of epoxy. So we're gonna pour 7.5 part B. And we're pouring part B first just because it takes a little bit, like it literally takes a couple milliseconds for it to level out, to level out. So I'm pouring 7.5 milliliters of part B. And then, okay, that's good. Then I'm gonna go with part A and we'll pour 7.5 milliliters also, totaling 15 milliliters. Alright, so we're going to take our epoxy and we're going to mix it slowly. We only need to mix this epoxy for about 60 to 90 seconds. Make sure you're scraping the sides and the bottom. Over the glitter cups, I usually like to do a minimum of 2 layers. So the first layer is what we're going to do right now. That one is 15 milliliters. Again, it's 7.5 milliliters of part B and 7.5 milliliters of part A. So you're going to mix your epoxy until it's nicely incorporated. Again, like I said, this particular epoxy, Lightning Cure from the Epoxy Resin store, all you got to do is mix it for 60 to 90 seconds. Alright, that looks good. We're going to turn our spinner on. I always like my I'm right-handed, so I like my spinner to spin clockwise. I pour with my left and smooth with my right, but let's say you're left-handed, it might be easier for it to turn the other way and for you to pour with your right and smooth with your left. But for me, I'm going to do it this way, clockwise. Alright, so let's get pouring. So I'm going to take my epoxy, go ahead and just pour it directly on the cup. Don't be afraid, just go ahead and do it and then move the epoxy all around the cup. I'm not putting so much pressure. I'm mostly helping the epoxy glide. So I'm not pressing down so hard. I'm just slowly, I'm slowly gliding the epoxy. Okay, and you want to make sure that you completely coat the entire cup. Okay, I like to go from bottom to top. If I go from top to bottom, I risk getting epoxy inside the rim of the cup, which honestly, if that does happen to you, it's not a big deal. We can remove it, and it's just easier if we don't have to do that. Okay, any excess I'm wiping off at the bottom, or you can also put it in your cup. And let me show you guys. For the bottom of the cup, you're just gonna go around in a circle. So it looks like I need some more epoxy on here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my cup, which I do have more epoxy on there, putting that on my finger, and it is going directly to the bottom of the cup. Just like that. you want to make sure you have a nice thin layer coating the entire tumbler. If there are any spots that are missing epoxy, go ahead and add it to that specific spot and then just smooth it out. If there are any parts on your cup that have like excess epoxy, go ahead and remove that. When you're working with lightning cure, you want to make sure that you have a nice thin layer. You don't want it too thin because you don't want your epoxy spreading or whatever when you torch it. But this looks good. I have full coverage. All the glitter is encased. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my torch and I'm going to hit it with my torch. When you're working with lightning cure, it is important that you use a torch. You can use one of these or you can use one of these. If you're using a smaller one, you're going to do the same thing, just on a smaller scale. And what that does is it's going to pop any bubbles that were left in our epoxy from us maybe mixing too fast or... Hi guys, okay, I'm back. It's been about 8 minutes and we're gonna go ahead and do our second coat. So again, we're doing 15 milliliters, so we're gonna go up to 7.5 and then we're gonna go up to 15. So part B, we're gonna go up to 7.5 and then part A, we're gonna go all the way up to 15 milliliters. So let's go ahead and pour the epoxy. Perfect. Oh, we're going to take our popsicle stick and again scrape the sides and the bottom. Now at this point the tumbler is still a little bit tacky, but I'm going to show you what to do so that you're able to still add another coat. I'll show you in just a second. First, let's go ahead and mix this for about 60 to 90 seconds. Scraping the sides and also make sure that you scrape the bottom. And you want to mix slowly. Again, these big bubbles that we're seeing, those we're gonna pop when we heat it up with the torch. So don't worry about those. Okay, almost time. We have about 10 more seconds of mixing. Alright, the epoxy looks good. Now it's ready to go on our cup. Now, real quick, I know I told you that the cup was still a little bit tacky, but actually, it's not tacky it's barely tacky, but you could still run your finger through it. So, to avoid our glove, let's say, sticking on there, I'm going to show you a trick. This is what I do. I pour some epoxy on my gloved hand, and I smooth it all over just in case I run out of epoxy while I'm, wiping. It's not gonna stick or anything. So we're gonna go ahead and pour the epoxy directly onto the cup and apply it to over the entire tumbler, just like that. You can either use one finger or you can use your whole hand, whatever you're more comfortable with. Any excess is going to the bottom, or you can also put it back on your cup. what I like to do is when I put the excess on the bottom, I use that epoxy to smooth around the bottom of the cup. Okay, now I'm just going up. Any excess is hitting the bottom of the cup, and the excess epoxy is staying on the bottom of the cup. Again, you can also just put it back into your cup. Okay. Once you smooth the epoxy all around your tumbler, it should be good to go. Right here, I have a little bit too much, so I'm going to remove some of that. Okay. And again, this was the second layer. After that, it seems to be, after that layer, I think we should be good. So now that there's epoxy all around my cup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my torch and I'm just going to heat it up once around. Alright guys, now we're just going to leave this alone for about 20 to 30 minutes and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Okay guys, this is what our finished cup looks like. This is sealed with 2 coats of lightning cure. And that's it. Look at how pretty this is. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Bye!